don't want. Thank you, Denise Carlton, for all that you do to keep the Murfreesboro Women's Club growing and preserving its historic home. You make a difference.
At Toots, we strongly believe that it's important for every one of our citizens to give some of their time and talent back into the community. And we want to honor these individuals with a Toots gift certificate good at any of our Rutherford County locations. 860 Northwest Broad Street, on Church Street in the Barfield area, in Smyrna on Sam Ridley, and Toots West on Franklin Road at Rucker Lane.
Merry Christmas from all of us at News Radio WGNS. Rutherford Issues on News Radio WGNS.
Well, we're back here on Rutherford Issues, and our show is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. You know, their internet company is United Communications, and it's nationally recognized award-winning provider of internet and phone services to enterprise-class businesses and residential customers in Middle Tennessee. Find out more at mte.com/internet. United Communications. Fast, local, fiber. We're talking today about Rutherford County Emergency Medical Services, and Brent Carter joins us here in studio this morning, and looking forward to our conversation here today. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
Good. You're running 100 miles an hour, I think.
Oh, yeah. Wide open. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I did.
Awesome.
Lots of turkey and ham and dressing and stuff.
Naps?
Yes, one nap. Good. It's a good nap, too, on Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dressing or stuffing at the Carter household?
No turkeys.
No turkeys?
No.
That's a lot of people don't have turkey.
Yeah,
you know?
they don't. Boys don't like turkey, so we don't have turkey.
Yeah.
Chicken? Ham.
Ham?
Yeah,
oh.
I smoked a ham and chickens.
So no, you don't do stuffing or dressing if there's no turkey, huh?
Nah.
Well, that's good stuff. Might as well eat what you like instead of putting
Saves
something
more
out there.
room for the sweets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
know.
good stuff. Christmas around the corner as well. And before we went on here live, you were telling me that you all have really just been busting it here lately.
Oh man, these crews! I'll tell you what. I don't know if it's the growth or just this time of year, but they're running their tails off daily. You know, they're averaging probably 125 calls, 911 calls, a 24-hour shift, which totals up to, I mean, Brian just sent out all the info, 3,935 calls in the month of November.
Good grief.
So that's pretty busy.
So how many calls in that 24 hours? 100 and...
Well, I mean, I'm guessing like 125 a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
You know, times that by 30. How close was I?
125 times 30 is 3750.
30. So that's close.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That was close.
So what I was interested in, 125 in a 24-hour period, if you divide that by 24,
16 trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like 5.5 an hour. So, I mean, that's
a lot of calls.
That's busy. And
yeah.
you know, when one truck goes somewhere, it's probably going to take more than an hour once you get there, assess, maybe have to transport.
On where it's at, you know, on what our transports from wherever the 911 call come in to whatever hospital that the appropriate hospital that they're transporting them to.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I mean, you'd have to think of various situations, but you're probably not going to go to one call and then, you know, 10 minutes later be right at another call.
No,
you know.
No. And, you know, the appropriate hospitals, too, because sometimes hospitals don't have certain staff, you know, or doctors for cardiac or GI or whatever, you know. So you may have to bypass hospital to get it to the appropriate doctors.
Curious how you know that. I mean, do the 911 folks
the dispatchers, know? The hospitals check in, or they check in with the hospitals every day, so they know what they have staffed for at that time periods.
And I guess they know if
and then they send it out to the crews, so we all know, you know, who's where.
So would they know if there's like, you know, an overstaffage as well, or they have so many patients that they're working with that they couldn't take anymore.
Some of them, Vandy's about the only one that really goes on diversion for a big trauma.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I guess that makes sense there.
Unless it's a big trauma, they will take you. But if it's a stub toe, you might be sitting in the lobby for a while. So they'll go on that kind of diversion. But they're the, the level 1 trauma center right there close to us. So.
Now, when you
in Middle Tennessee
talk about level 1 trauma center, that's if it's
that means they got a 24-hour staff to handle anything trauma. Anything trauma. Yep.
Okay.
So from gunshots to amputations, whatever, they can handle it right there.
And so when you're being dispatched and your EMT is making the assessment, sometimes they decide that it warrants, taking to Vanderbilt, then I guess there has to be some type of decision made, or life flight or transport and that kind of thing too, right?
Yep. And then, if you're going to a level 1, it depends on what you have. Because a lot of times it's faster, but going by air, they can do a little bit more in a helicopter from point A to point B than what we can do from point A to point B. So you make that decision whether they need to be flown. It's a little faster getting them to the ER, because if there's bad trauma, about the only one's going to save them is an OR. They need an operating room.
So,
but then again, it depends on weather.
Sure.
Whether you're hitting the ground or where you're at on a truck. Sometimes you can beat a helicopter. So, yeah, it's a decision on whatever the crew decides.
Yeah, that's a quick decision, and I guess how quickly life flight can get to where you are, or where if you can get to where
15-minute response time for a scene flight. You can drive it in 22, so you kind of weigh your odds.
Yeah.
If you're still getting somebody out of a car, like you had to extricate them and things like that, and you've already got a helicopter in the air, meet them halfway, whatever, we've done that before too.
Yeah. And you can't just put a helicopter down just anywhere either. Or can you?
We pretty much can put a helicopter down.
Really?
Close.
Yeah.
Now if there's a lot of trees and things like that, we'll move them to an open area where we can land them. Yeah.
Has that changed over the years? I mean, I remember
we've shut down interstates. Landed them on the interstate.
Yeah.
But
I've, I used to remember that, at Central Magnet, that, there's a big space. Yeah. The helipad there. And there's obviously life flights over by the Starplex and airport and stuff there.
By the airport now. Well, there's a helipad at St. Thomas Rutherford. There's a helipad at Stonecrest. And then there's all kinds of parking lots.
Yeah. So, but
streets.
I guess that's right. I mean, I'm interested if that has changed over the years. I mean, is it easier to land a helicopter on a street?
We try to land them as close as we can. Now, if we're going to meet them halfway, we'll meet them at a helipad.
That makes sense.
If we're going to meet them halfway.
And you kind of know where those are.
Yeah. And they know where they're at.
Yeah.
That way we're all not guessing on where we're going from, if we're going to meet in the middle, then it's going to probably mostly it'd be an airport or a helipad.
And that's just some of the decisions that, the responders are making.
As you're treating a patient.
Yeah.
Yep, as you're treating a patient. Supervisors are good on showing up and helping with all that, finding the LZ and setting it up so the paramedics and EMTs can do what they do, take care of the patients.
So supervisors may be monitoring the radio traffic.
They all have one in one hand and one in the other.
Yeah.
Yep. And so switching between channels.
And they maybe understand that this is a situation that, their responder needs some help.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if they need it, they need extra hands. I've seen supervisors jump in the back of the truck and ride all the way to Vandy with them. I mean, granted, there's only 2 people. Somebody's got to drive. So if you got something bad, they're not flying, and you may or may not need a little help, they're jumping in the back. They're going to ride.
Well, that puts a hand in there, or at least maybe a driver.
They're all
or something.
Paramedics too, so it works.
Yeah,
everybody works together. Like I said, I mean, you're 911, we're patient care. So we're going to care for you from the time we get there to the time we drop you off at the appropriate hospitals.
All those split decisions that have to be made to try to save lives. It's interesting.
It's a little tough.
Yeah.
A little nerve-wracking.
Oh, man. I can only just anticipate what that pressure would be like. And 3,900 calls a month just last month alone, and that number is continuing to go up. I bet it would be interesting to look back over what it was 5 years ago
we're
and a
glad
year
these
ago.
new stations are coming up.
Yeah.
We're glad we're still have a little shortage on some staffing. So anybody that's a paramedic or EMT out there that's looking for a job, be more than glad to come in for an interview.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, these new stations open up. That's going to cut down some call volume a little bit for some of the trucks in them areas, and response times. It'll shorten them up,
And we're talking about the buildings that are housing not only the ambulance, but
they've got
fire
county
rescue.
fire. Yeah, they've got county fire in there. They've with us. They've got EMS, and then they've got an office for a sheriff's officer to do, come in and do paperwork or whatever they need to do. But it's set up communication centers. It's come up for 250 people for a big storm shelter that they can get to. They're nice. They're top of the line.
Yeah, and so let's see, Rockvale's complete.
Rockvale's complete and Kittrell's complete.
Okay.
So everybody's got crews and staff that they're all staff. They're rolling. So.
And Walter Hill and Las Casas are under construction?
They're under construction now. Las Casas is probably going to open up second week, middle of April, and then Walter Hill is going to be right behind it. They're pretty close together on where they're at.
And then there were a total of 5, right?
Yeah. Christiana was going to get one. They're moving it to Plainview, so that kind of shortens up that end of the county on response times. It just kind of all worked out with fire and EMS on call volumes and, politics.
And
But I don't play.
Yeah. Plainview is, that's in the Christiana area, so it's just,
it's on that side of the road.
Yeah.
So kind of cut in the middle.
And I guess the county has some land there with the elementary school and such.
Yeah,
so,
I haven't really seen the location yet.
And so that one's a bit further behind. I don't think they've
I knew they were doing soil samples the last thing I heard.
Gotcha. So it'll be a little further online. So that'll be nice to have those. And, looks like maybe, as we get toward spring, maybe they'll be popping up, and spring is severe weather season, so you never know.
Oh, yeah. Start of construction, too. Well, get the interest rates to go down. They'll be building more houses.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
just what we need.
That's, when you said 3,900 calls last month, wonder what, November of 22 was like, and November of, I bet,
keep going up.
Just there's a steady trend up.
I remember when I first started, when we did 70 calls in a shift, we were busy. Now we didn't have near as many trucks on the road, but
right
now they're doing double that. It's crazy.
And that's been in how many years have you been there?
23.
23?
Yeah.
So that's double in that amount of time.
No telling how much growth, in that 20 years has been for residents moving in. And
that's just wild to think about, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. When you start seeing farmland getting sold for housing,
yeah,
it's going crazy.
Trying to keep up with it all. Well, I'm sure that it's going to be a busy time in December as well. More people at home and
families coming in.
Yeah,
families going out. So
getting into stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So don't want any arguments or anything like that. Make it the joyful time. 'Tis the season.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Jolly. So let's keep it that way.
Well, and kids get new toys and maybe a new skateboard and things like that.
Yep.
Trying to learn how to,
Bikes.
Yeah. Oh, I bet that's a big one.
Bikes, motorcycles. If we get any snow, we got sledding. Trees.
I guess call volumes do go up in the snow, don't they?
Yeah.
In terms of
a little bit.
People
being
crazy.
In the spring, because everybody's been kind of caged up, locked up, so they want to get their boats out, want to get their 4-wheelers out, want to get the horses back in shape, and get out and enjoy the little bit warmer air.
Yeah, get out and enjoy. Well, Brent, awful good to have you here this morning, and appreciate it. And
hope everybody has a good Christmas and stay safe.
Same to you and everybody at Rutherford County Emergency Medical Services. And hopefully it won't be too busy.
I'm hoping not.
All right. Thanks, Brent. And if you missed part of our conversation, you can check it out on WGNSradio.com in the podcast section. Just look for Rutherford Issues there. And thank you so very much for making us a part of your morning. And stay with us. More interesting conversation ahead right here on WGNS.
A look at the news, views, politics, sports, and people that are shaping Rutherford County. Listen each weekday morning at 9 o'clock for the Roundtable here on News Radio WGNS.
This is Lenny Farmer with Jennings & Ayers Funeral Home. Did you know that you can plan